What's talking? It's Street Talk Online. George Floyd, 46, a black man, died after being arrested by police outside a shop in Minneapolis, Minnesota. On May 25th, a footage of the arrest showed a white police officer, Derek Chauvin, kneeling on Mr. Floyd's neck as he was pinned to the ground. A massive protest is raging in America right now, and Street Talk went online to find out how Singaporeans actually felt about this incident.
I couldn't even finish the video.
They shouldn't have pinned him down with their knee and then held it there for so long until he couldn't breathe and died.
If we don't know what they go through, we cannot argue whether it's justifiable or not that violence is ensuing.
There is so much hidden anger. Sometimes you need a trigger and then it gets unleashed.
A petition was started seeking justice for George Floyd and an end to the police brutality against blacks and to racial discrimination in America. But racial discrimination is everywhere, and we took this opportunity to examine this subject in Singapore. Do you think racial discrimination is present in Singapore?
Definitely. You don't see it every single day, but sometimes when you go about, you hear light-hearted jokes about people of other races. That's still discrimination.
There's always people saying stuff about them that's not good, and usually what I realize is the Chinese. For a very more obvious reasons, it's the treatment of foreign dormitory workers. I've seen a lot of cases, even online or physically. People will try not to go near them. They'll think that, oh, they are smelly, they are dirty.
I think there definitely is discrimination. There's always jokes that we make amongst friends. Like when some fella off the light and then you go and tell the Indian fella, oh, I can't see you, man. It's always a joke. Right? But I think the real discrimination comes out when you give a privilege to someone just because of their ethnicity.
There is discrimination here, and it happens in a very almost it's okay kind of way. It is okay for somebody to say something along the lines of, hey, why how come Indians kind of smell? How come the belacan you cannot tahan the smell? People are just not mindful that they are not supposed to say certain things.
Have you been discriminated against?
Yeah, look at me. I look like a Malay. But I'm a Chinese. I remember the worst ones would come from my army days. Air Force times, well, was the worst, man. I would get nicknames and I would have to play the role of entertaining them.
About a year ago, I was playing basketball, and a couple of old timers were there. Possibly in their 60s or something like that. Then they say something along the lines of, hey, Keling, boleh ya? Boleh bola. Keling is a very derogatory term. It's like, he can play basketball. And I looked at him and I was really angry because it's bloody 2018 at that point, and his words are still set along the line. And I really wanted to put him in his place. Now that is racism. There's so much that is going on over here, but it's almost like we don't want to look at it because it's a taboo subject, right? We don't want to look at it. But it's the everyday thing, and I think this is a lot more harmful, and one day it will boil over.
How can we avoid racial discrimination in Singapore?
This is something that we have to educate our children, and slowly from there, that's how we build on it. I'm not so sure about our older generation. Yes, there are some who don't realize that the things that they say or do are obviously wrong. So it's our part in our generation to just educate them, just constantly repeating, and hopefully it will get into their heads.
I think it begins on the education level. I think if we have character building, it will take a while to repair. It's not going to be a few years solution. This kind of solution will definitely take many years to have impact. There is a solution, but people have to be patient with it. People have to not expect instant result. But I think on the government level, they have to implement something to emphasize on character building, such as empathy, such as respect towards one another, and integrating more.
Martin Luther King Jr. said something along the lines of, "Don't judge a man by the content. Judge a man by the content of his character and not by the color of his skin." In primary schools today, questions are along the lines of, "Why are you so dark?" or "Why are you wearing a tudung?" or "Why are you this?" and "Why are you that?" "Why do you wear coconut oil on your hair?" and everything. These questions are being asked, and these are extremely innocent questions asked by extremely innocent kids, but we don't educate them. We look at it as, okay, never mind, some other time then we answer. Today we focus on PSLE first. So we do that, and then it just doesn't get answered at that point. So we have just started the seed for discrimination to happen. Discrimination goes on everywhere. You've got to ask yourself, where do I draw the line? And I think there are three words: mindfulness, one is respect, one is empathy. If you can embrace three words and see beyond everything else, you become human, and that is exactly what we have to shoot for. Very difficult to do, but we've got to give it our best shot.
To get a broader perspective, we conducted a poll to ask other Singaporeans about their experiences dealing with racial discrimination.
Easily faced when applying jobs, requires Chinese speaking, or constantly being told at work that I have to work harder because of the colour of my skin. Failed the module because my lecturer don't like Malay people. When I was working as a part-timer waiter in casino, an Indian guy came to me and asked me why I'm working in Singapore and take their job. Asked me to go back to my own country. Sat in a very crowded food court that has a significant amount of non-halal food stalls with my family. While finishing up our drinks, we overheard a passing remark. "Tell them faster drink lah, he only got one halal store, just dabao go somewhere else and eat, sit so long also for what?" There were a few times when I got through and actually came down for a job interview, only to have their faces change when they saw me because I wasn't Chinese. Didn't even bother to interview me. Being called racial slurs is one of them, and also when jobs have a fluent in Mandarin or must be Chinese requirement. People saying, "You are pretty for an Indian girl." Many more comments like that which make it seem like they have a clear expectation because of my ethnicity.
Based on our responses, our survey revealed that approximately 2/3 or 65% of our respondents have not personally faced racial discrimination. But this may well be because it is largely the experience of our 76% Chinese majority. Despite this, almost 9 out of 10 Singaporeans, approximately 85% of them, acknowledge that there is racial discrimination in Singapore, as well as the notion of Chinese privilege. Much of the discrimination exists in the workplace and in seeking jobs which not infrequently show an overt or unsaid preference for Chinese staff. And this is even when a job does not require Chinese language fluency. There are policies in place that reinforce our racial separation, such as in the ethnic allocation in HDB housing, SAP schools where Mandarin is a second language, ethnic-based help groups, the Chinese, Malay, Indian, others, CMIO policy, and even the reserved presidential election for a minority president. So what can we do about it? A large number said that nothing can be done. However, a larger number wants something to be done. They want to see more policy explanation, greater empathy and respect for all races, and recognition for racial equality. Perhaps the most important theme that recurred was that they want our children to be suitably taught so that they grow up with the right values. In emphasizing our differences, we are also weakening our commonality as members of one nation. But we have hope, starting with DPM's unity, resilience, solidarity and fortitude budgets, where the nation is coming together like never before and becoming just simply Singaporean.